Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome back to our Queen's Gambit Declined studies. So in this studies we have seen some great defenses like the Chigonin defense, Tata defense, semi-Tata defense and many more. And today we're continuing with our Queen's Gambit Declined studies and the so-called exchange variation. So the exchange variation we have started recently to study, and in my previous video we have talked about the positional line. This is now the position that you get out of the exchange variation of the positional line. I'll repeat, of course, the moves. We'll see again how to reach this particular position, and we have talked about the basic goals of this opening. We're trying here from white perspective to play the move f3 e4 to get this central breakthrough here, to maybe expand here in the center of the board with the move e5, maybe f4 f5 and similar stuff. So in this video we are talking about the common mistakes, not only tactical mistakes. We'll talk about, I think, more positional mistakes that you can make in this particular setup, in this particular position, because I think there's certain mistakes that are made over and over again, and that's why I think we should solve them in order to get a better understanding what's going on then afterwards in the Queen's Gambit Declined exchange variation. So let's see now how to reach this position, because maybe you're watching this opening for the first time. So let's see now how this position happens and how to then make progress, and what are the actual mistakes that white and black are making many times. So here, of course, our first move is the move d4. Black response is d5. We're playing c4, the Queen's Gambit. We have now the move e6, which is now the Queen's Gambit Declined. And now after knight to c3, knight to f6, we're playing the exchange variation with the move c takes d5. Now after e takes d5, bishop to g5, pinning, of course. We have talked about the main threats, bishop to f6, queen to f6, then you pick up the pawn, and white should have a solid game. So that's why black fixes here the position with bishop to e7, or the c6 move is also a common line now for black. So in the continuation, white is playing the move e3, plays normal development. Again, I'm pointing out we are delaying the knight move. We are not playing knight to f3, we're playing every other move, but we don't want to play knight to f3 because we're preparing knight to e2, then of course f3 e4 like you have seen in the beginning position. But you don't want to play, of course, first knight to e2 because you're blocking out your own bishop on f1. So that's why here we see c6, queen to c2. Again, we're delaying the knight move, knight to d7, bishop to d3, kingside castling, and now we have reached this position, knight to e2, and now we have this common preparation f3 e4. So now black will eventually play the move rook to e8. We'll try to occupy maybe even somehow the e4 square, or at least battle for the square. And now we have this kingside castling move, knight to f8, and now we're playing now the move f3, finally to break and enter with the move e4. Now comes a mistake that I've seen many times. Queen to c7 is a move that's really bad here, because notice in the intro video, into our introduction video of the Queen's Gambit Declined exchange variation, we have talked about this c file problems. There was always this kind of a tension on the c file, so you should not forget about this. Look at this, the queen is a little bit loose here on the c file, so maybe you can pause the video, maybe just for fun, try to see now the best continuation here for white. Maybe, as I said, if you can solve this mini puzzle, sort of, it's not the puzzle that wins the game immediately for white, but it's a puzzle that I think leads into a comfortable game here from white's perspective. So okay, try to see now simply the best continuation and solve this mini puzzle. So okay, here of course the best continuation is bishop to f6, getting rid of the key defender of the square d5. Now after bishop to f6 we just pick up the pawn, and here in my opinion white should be much better. Here you can play, of course, queen to d6. Now we can pick up even the bishop, and now we push the pawn further, and of course this is now a solid game. This is the position that you want to get, of course, from white's perspective. Three really powerful connected pawns in the center, supported by this knight. We can even make further progress with e5, f4, f5. So it's now a position that I think black can resign. So here is an example that I found in one game in a FIDE master / international master level. What I've seen many times, what black is doing in this kind of a position, black is trying many times to do this maneuver. I'm not sure why. The evaluation is not even so bad here for black, but in my opinion this is a really positional mistake that black is making over and over again. There are really many games in the database that you find, and 99% I think of the games white is winning the game here for sure. So I'm not sure why black is repeatedly doing this kind of a move. knight to h5, okay, in the beginning it makes sense because we are trying, of course, to get rid of, here from black's perspective, we're trying to get rid of the bishop. That's the key defender of dark squares, because there is a certain tension on the e file. So black is hoping to get maybe the queen on the e file and will try to get really powerful attack on the e file. Or what black is at least hoping for, that white plays then passively with the bishop on f2. So black is hoping that white is now securing the position with the move bishop to f2, but now of course the bishop is not an optimal piece because it's blocked out by its own pawn structure. But actually I'm not sure. Look at this. After bishop to e7, queen to e7, white is simply proceeding with the normal plan, e4, and suddenly black doesn't have so many good pieces on the board. The knight on f8 is passive, the knight on h5 is on the edge of the board, the bishop on c8 is maybe active, but it's blocked out first of all by this pawn structure. And when we watch the pawn chain, this is not a good bishop because too many pawns are on light squares, and of course we have a light square bishop. We have talked about also in the intro video that many times you can reach the endgame stage and you have such a bad bishop, so it's not a good position then of the light square bishop. So please, as I said, check out also an intro video and also some other videos, because many of these ideas maybe will not cover in this video. I try to keep up as much as I can also in this video, but of course we cannot talk about any positional problem now in this particular one. So after move e4, look at this. In one particular game, as I said, that I found in the database, d takes e4, f takes e4 was played. Basically black helped out white here with this f file attack. Now we have this kind of a tension here in the continuation. Queen to g5 was played with really a desperate try maybe to play bishop to h3, but this can be always protected with rook to f2. And look at this now. After move e5, basically white locked now the knight out. The knight is out of game. White got challenged with this move bishop to h3, but as I said, it's nothing special. Rook to f2 was played, bishop to g4, attacking now the knight, but now knight to e4, attacking simply the queen. The queen is now out of game. We have now h3, bishop to e2, queen to e2, queen to d4, and you see now the knight was loose. Okay, you can pick up here the bishop on d3, but look at this, queen to f7, the position is falling apart. King to h8 was played, knight to d6, and this is now devastating position. So here black even tried rook to e5, queen to b7. In this position black resigned. So whatever you do, wherever you go, look at this, we can even play the afterwards the fork, so it's game over here for black. So as I said, in my opinion, this idea knight to h5 should be considered twice because it doesn't make sense in my honest opinion. If you put now maybe this position into an it give you probably a slight edge here for white. It's not the position that white is winning for sure, but as I said, we are getting rid of the bishop. We're pushing just the pawn on e4, and there's not a good way anymore to prevent this. You don't have any more the dark square bishop. Many times we have talked about the counterplay ideas of blacks. Black should keep the dark square pieces, so the queen can be of course a dark square piece, but also the bishop you can get attacked. So in my opinion, you should keep them on as much as you can on the board, because you can then of course also attack here white's camp. So let's see another game. Again, the same idea, again with this move knight to h5. Again, I'm pointing out this move has been played many times, but in my opinion it doesn't make really sense. Again, bishop to e7 was played here. It's a game, again, international master level versus FIDE master level. Again, e4, we have d takes e4, f takes e4. Again, this idea queen to g5. Now white even step back here from the potential bishop to h3 attack, but I'm not seeing here good moves. Now black retreated to f6, but look at this now, h3, knight to g6, e5. Look at this, this is really beautiful harmony. We have here knight to d5, knight takes d5. We have now powerful here supported pawn. We have here this beautiful battery. Knight to f4 is coming, so I would not love to play now this game from black's perspective. We have rook to f3. Look how white continued the pressure, even with opportunities to play the move rook to g3. The queen is a little bit loose here. The queen doesn't have good squares in the game. Knight to e7 was played. Look at this, rook to f1, and we have now really a beautiful attacking harmony. We have here really a beautiful attacking formation. Imagine Stockfish maybe playing this kind of attacking formation. I think black would get destroyed by some immortal tactics. So here in this game, for instance, bishop to e6 was played, knight to f4. But basically there are so many good moves, because look at this again, the bishop is just a part of the pawn chain. Here you have maybe the opportunity to trade it off, but here queen to f2 was played, the game was continued. I don't want to show you now the whole game, that's not the point of the video, but the point is that actually when black is searching for the simplification to trade off the dark square bishops, it leads into, I think, a really aggressive line for white. White has a really comfortable game, and black is basically struggling just to get some kind of a drawish position. So let's see now one example. I like to call it when you let here again the pawn rolling here, and with white pieces played the legendary Simon Williams, the legendary Ginger JM, here with the white pieces. He played against Malcolm Payne. Here I think Simon Williams showed really his great positional skills, because he understood, because he has a beautiful activity, and therefore move knight to rook to d1, here queen to d7, knight to f4, and knight to g6. That was now the critical position. Simon Williams realized that he could actually create a pawn storm, and that's something that black should not allow. Black should not allow really this aggressive play in the center of the board. So black has to be active, maybe here on the queen side. We'll talk about these ideas in the later stage. Has to attack the position somehow with queen to b6, has to maybe attack even the knight on c3, has to make something here. Black played too many passive moves, just played around a little bit, try to search for simplifications, try to search for maybe trading of pieces, simplifying the game, as I said. But this is simply too slow. Look how Simon Williams built really a beautiful, sharp attacking flow. He built again a really nice attacking formation. He just picked up the bishop here after queen to e6, bishop to f5, queen to d6, and look at this now. e4 is coming, and whatever you do, you're getting stormed here because you play too passively. So here I think it's a great example how black should not be passive. Black should not remove the pieces, reroute the pieces, try to search maybe for improvements of the pieces. Black should be active. Black has to really play aggressively. We'll see, as I said, in the continuation of the series, we will see how black should actually play, but this is not the way to go. Look at this. So even if you take d takes e4, f takes e4, you play maybe h6 or something, but it doesn't matter. We just play e5. You see, this is really devastating. You can maybe play, instead of h6, queen to b4 here, but again, king to h1, maybe we're trying again e5. So you should not let this pawn storm coming to you by playing passive chess. So in my opinion, this is not the way to go for black. So see here in this particular position, e4 was played, queen to d8, bishop to f6. Look at this, e5 was the continuation, now bishop to e7, and now I have some opportunities, f4, f5. So it's again a devastating position for black. So this is not the way to go. So let's see now an example what white can make as a mistake. We have talked about it in our intro video about the possibility, and in our minority attack video that I've added also into our playlist. So as I said, please check out the whole series. Probably you're not knowing what I'm talking about here now. So as I said, many things were explained previously. Here comes a motif that's common for black. You should not forget about this, the fixation around the square e4. Whenever black has the opportunity to maybe cement the position around the square e4, this should be good. He has then a solid game. He has then a really nice central control. f3 will probably come, but as we said, e3 is then the main issue. Here, the one game that I found, kingside castling was played, h6, bishop to f4, knight to f8. We have now the move h3. So you see here in this example, in my opinion, white played simply too slowly. White didn't play this aggressive f3 e4 approach. Here knight to e6 was played, so black uses now another tempo against the bishop. Bishop to h2 was played, and now bishop to d6. Now it's a different story to trade off the dark square bishops, because now we are trying to get rid of any defender of the dark square, because I think here white played simply too passively. Now knight to g5 is coming, and knight to e4. And if you want to prevent it, you have to then of course play f3. If you prevent this, then of course you create several dark square problems, and now black with the move bishop to d6 has, I think, here a solid game. So in the game that I found, it was again FIDE master versus an inter master. Bishop to d6 was played, queen to d6, rook to b1. We have talked about this possibility of a minority attack also in our series. So b4 is now the series threat, but now knight to g5. Now black is controlling now the e4 square and is trying now to make further progress here. So we have now here a move, and knight to g3 was played, and here black played a stunning tactic. So this pawn chain is always a tactical problem in white's camp. You should not forget about this. I've lost many times also with the white pieces when my opponent broke me in the center of the board. Actually, here what is a possibility is a beautiful rook to e3 move, because after f takes e3, look at this, the queen is coming into the game in a beautiful way. Knight to h3 is going to happen, so it's now a really bad game here for white. In the game, king to h1 was played, but now queen to e3, picking up another pawn, and the position fell apart in a couple of more moves. So I don't want to show you now again the whole game, but the idea here is, in my opinion, that actually white didn't continue with his normal plan. That's, I think, the lesson here. White didn't proceed with this normal f3 e4 idea, played simply again, also round a little bit, played some maneuvers with the bishop, didn't react correctly, and got punished by this beautiful piece activity. Look at this again, knight to g3. What white probably wanted to play is, of course, this knight to f5 moves, but now with rook to e3, the position got destroyed, and from this point on, it was a one-way ticket here against white. So really wild stuff. So here, again, the same example, similar example. So black is trying to cement a position around the square e4, plays now the move knight to e4. We have bishop to e7, queen to e7, and okay, this is now an equal game in my opinion. Black is here a solid game around the square e4. We'll maybe try this kind of an attack, f5, g5, and similar stuff, but we have to say it. White is coming through with the move b4, with the common minority attack. But what I didn't like about this game that I found in the database, it's a gameplay by Luke McShane against Vigan Mirumian. Here, Luke McShane challenged the pawn on e4, which makes really sense, perfectly fine. But now after move f5, we should really understand that actually with the move f5, black locked himself a little bit, locked out now the light square bishop. And what white tried here to do is to play the move f3. But now f3, that is many times our main goal, that is many times our main objective, but now it's not working. We cannot play again on the same motif. Now, in my opinion, you should break and enter here with the move d5, or maybe you continue here with the normal minority attack, because it's really hard for white to make progress with the move f4. He cannot advance the pawn on f4 because he is vulnerable then around the square e4. So if you want to make progress in one particular moment, you will have to play the move f4. So that's why, in my opinion, white should have left the position simply like this on the king side, should not touch anything, and would continue with b4, as I said, maybe with a central breakthrough with the move d5. In the game, f3 was played, but as I said, you cannot make the same motif here because it's not the same position anymore. If you would have done maybe the motif in the beginning, okay, I'm not saying the main motif is f3 e4, but now it's simply too slow. E takes f3 was played. Look at this. You are vulnerable now around the square e3. Rook to f3. Okay, it protects the position for a while, but now look at this. Knight to g6 was played. Rook to e1, f4. Look at this. You are vulnerable on the e file, so it's now really bad game. So knight to e4 was played. We have this one, queen to h4. So again, I don't want to show now the whole game. That's not the point of the video. Who makes this kind of a mistake? Who makes this kind of a tactic? The idea is clear. You don't want to play f3 if you haven't played it in the first place. Now it's a different story. From this point on, black took over and eventually won the game. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed the studies. As I said, keep in mind that this is a common position that will happen to you. Many things are really clear, I think, already, but many things can go wrong in a different direction. In my opinion, this is one of the toughest positions that you can study because it has so many opportunities, although it's a seemingly equalish position, but it has so many dynamic opportunities. I cannot wait till I show you how Stockfish is playing this opening from white's and from black's perspective. It's really wild how the fish is playing the game with really mortal attacks, so be prepared. Still, this will be, I think, a fun series to watch. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this common mistakes in the exchange variation of the Queen's Gambit Declined. If you want to know more about our Queen's Gambit Declined studies, please check out our whole series. Here we have already more than 70 videos about this opening. It's, I think, a very important series here on my YouTube channel, so have fun and study hard. So okay, if you want to of course, see some other openings. You can also check out my hyper accelerated ranked Sicilian defense as a good response against e4. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. What to say? See you soon, and chess is the best, of course.